All right, what is going on, ladies and gentlemen? How is it going? I am Is There No One Else? And in today's video, I wanted to talk to you guys about a conversation that Nice Gaming and I had on our podcast last week, Voices of Vera, which we air every Tuesday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Come check us out. We like to talk about different conversations that happen in the Ashes of Creation space, keep updated on the game. It's something we're both very excited about because, yeah, this is a game that we're looking forward to in the future. And it's just fun to talk about. So yeah, one of the things that came up, we were talking about the podcast that happened last week. It was the Yokai Theater podcast with Stephen Sharif, where they asked him a bunch of questions. And it started off in the beginning. I will provide a link in the description if you guys want to watch this podcast in its entirety. It's definitely worth checking out. I thought it was very well done. But yeah, the conversation kind of devolved, and then Nice and I got to go off on our own little tangent about this. So the conversation revolved around healing. They talked about healing and strength and healing in Ashes of Creation and where it's going to be. And then one of the interviewers made an offhanded comment, basically something along the lines of like, yeah, in MMOs, I like to play a fighter. I like to be an in-your-face brawler type of player. Playing in large-scale PvP is sometimes problematic for brawlers because healing can be too powerful or mitigation can be too powerful, and I don't really feel like I'm having an impact on the game. We've all been there. We've all been there in large Zerg combat fights where you just get steamrolled. It happens. I totally get that. I totally get that perspective. But then Steven did one of his classic Stephen Sharif rants where he was talking about the fighter and what they envision it to be. And he kind of talked about how he envisions the fighter to function like the Juggernaut from Xmen. Now, for those of you guys that don't know who the Juggernaut is, big badass dude. Basically, the longer the more he gets moving, the tougher he is to stop.
I was hyped about that. The little tidbit about fighter. That's good to hear. You know, the biggest thing about playing a melee and I guess the most frustrating thing about playing melee is in certain games is when you get into that large scale combat, it's pretty much if you dive anywhere near that line or back line, you're just getting completely nuked. So it's really good to hear that they have like a lot of anti-healing options. Some of the mobility that we've seen from the fighter looks just really good, and I'm really excited to see what you guys do with that.
Yeah, and you know, we haven't yet done a highlight of the fighter class kit. I think to the degree we have with the cleric, right? But the combat team just got off of 2 different sprints, I think, iterating on the fighter. Speaking of those class mechanics, there is one in particular called Momentum. That I think plays to this class fantasy of, I don't know if you ever watched the Xmen where they have that Juggernaut character and he's like running through the walls and he's just an unstoppable, like, you know, crazy force. That's how I kind of envision a fighter on the battlefield, right? The more he's taking damage, the more he's dealing damage, the higher his resistances become, the rage effects start to take, place. He's outputting damage and getting faster. Like, that is the type of class fantasy I want to see on a battlefield for a fighter. And I know Trad and Brian are working with the combat team to ensure that that's the case. I think we're going to have a good update for the fighter coming up.
And so Stevens compared the fighter in that way. So the more you're fighting, the more you're doing certain things, you have the potential to gain this resource called momentum, which is going to be a fighter specific resource. As you gain this momentum, your resistances will be increased, your fighting power output will be increased, your speed will be increased, and you'll become more and more of like a juggernaut on the battlefield. I'm assuming it'll have, this is just assumptions, guys, you'll have this bloodlust style thing where the more people you're killing, the more you're generating, and the more you're generating, the more powerful you are, and these sorts of things. And so it really got me thinking. I had a fun discussion about this because we haven't had the big fighter reveal, but we have had the cleric reveal where they talked about conviction. Now, conviction is the cleric resource where when you activate certain skills and abilities in the cleric skill line, they'll have a heal, but they'll have a secondary effect where if you activate this heal at like 30% health, or if you activate this skill and ability while there's a stun on the ground or something like that, what happens is then if you fill the requirement of activating that skill under that condition, you gain conviction. And this conviction can then be used as a resource to activate heals and abilities, or strengthen the heals and abilities you already have to where that they're stronger. And so I've already talked about it in another video. I can provide a link in the description for that also, if you guys want to check it out. But I really liked it. I liked the idea of conviction at the time, because what it's doing is it's separating, it's providing a skill gap from not very good clerics to average clerics to very, very good clerics. The more you can activate these skills in these certain times, and the more you can generate conviction, the more powerful your heals are going to be, the better your sustain is going to be in fights, the longer you're going to be alive, because you're keeping people alive for longer. Those things are valuable in big fights. And so I have enjoyed playing healer in the past, and those types of things that are rewarding for a high skill gap play is something that appeals to me. Now, the reason I bring this all up is we know how this applies for cleric. We can assume that fighter momentum is going to be the same thing when you activate a skill or ability with certain requirements. So if you use an execute ability at low health and you kill the opponent with a finishing blow, maybe you gain momentum there. If you activate a sword swinging ability while everybody's stun locked on the ground, maybe that is another way to gain momentum. And then momentum will then be your resource that you can use to either make your abilities more powerful, or just overall give you a battle rush sort of thing, where your character will either gain, like Steven said, gain resistances, gain fighting power, gain speed for X amount of seconds based on how much momentum you have. And so I'm not saying I'm right on this. This is my tinfoil hat theory on it. It's such a cool idea. It's such a cool idea for a few reasons. Number one, the same skill gap I'm talking about with cleric is now going to be applied to the fighter. And if you enjoy PvP style combat games, you want to see skills and abilities that allow you to separate from other players that are playing the exact same class. Having these sorts of separations in this type of game is going to provide longevity to the game, because it means, hey, I'm not bad at this class, but I can be better. And in order to be better, I have to do these things, and I have to be aware of these things, and it's a cool idea. The second thing that's really cool about this is the more I've been playing MMOs, the more I've been enjoying different types of MMOs. I like the idea of like a player fantasy or a power fantasy of specific archetypes, right? Like you want a rogue to be stealthy and high damage. You want an archer to be fast and quick and precise. You want a paladin to just be tanky and provide healing, like these sorts of things, right? You want like the holy warrior style thing. You want your brawler to just be an in-your-face, a brawler. And so the idea of momentum is providing this type of play fantasy to what a fighter is. It's providing that uniqueness that you get out of a class. So if they keep doing these sorts of things, if clerics are going to have conviction, if fighters are going to have momentum to where they do these things, then I think we can infer that tanks are going to have some sort of resource like this. I think we can say rangers, rogues, bards, they're all going to have these different specialty resource abilities that not only provide skill gaps for them, but it also provides that the feel of you're playing a different class, you're playing a different archetype than somebody else's, which is very important. I think that's a very important aspect when you're playing MMOs and you're choosing your archetype. You want the archetype to feel unique and different and powerful in its own way. And I'm really excited to see how close I will be on predicting what momentum is. Like, that's all he said. That's all he said, and my mind got racing about it. But we can go back and we can look at this video when they do the fighter reveal. I think I will be pretty close to spot on. I might not be. I might be off. I might be wrong about what it's going to do and what it's going to provide. It might be a different thing. I wanted to hear from you guys. Like, what do you guys think? Do you guys think I'm on the right track? Do you guys think I'm off on this? What do you want to see? We can talk about, my mind is just racing with like, okay, well, what is the rogue going to be? Like, you activate these skills and abilities, you're going to have more backstab damage. You're going to have more stealth, like the ability to stealth. And when you stealth, you're going to have more backstab damage, stuff like that. And it's just, it's so cool to actually get to see all this stuff being developed month to month and get to see the progress. And yeah, Alpha 2 can't come quick enough, man. I wish I had it yesterday. I really just wish I had it yesterday, but it is what it is. We'll get it when we get it. I'm going to end this video here. Thank you guys for watching. If you guys enjoyed this, maybe leave a like. If you want to see more Ashes of Creation content, maybe subscribe to the channel. Maybe follow me and Nice Gaming for our Voices of Vera podcast every Tuesday. I will catch you all in the next one. Take care. Have a nice day.